So you want to build the perfect homepage for your website, but you have no idea where to start. What should even be on that page, and in which order? And how do you actually easily build it? Well, by the end of this video, these questions will be answered so that you can craft the perfect homepage and maximize the conversion rate of your website. And I will even show you how to use AI to speed up the process. Hello, I'm Kay from the Astra team, and by the end of this video, you will understand how I recreated the perfect homepage and why I use the specific order and specific elements to achieve that. I will show you real-life examples, and I will show you how to implement these in a website for a fictional brand called PerStyleForce. And if you are interested in knowing how to build the rest of the website, we will make this video part of a playlist where we use the same fictional brand to build the other pages. Next, what I'll be using. So as mentioned, in this video, I will show you real examples to help you craft the perfect page. But I will also show you how to recreate these examples. Now, the principles outlined in this video are universal and not tied to any tool. So you can follow along no matter what processes and tools you usually use to build websites. But in this video, I will show you how I cheated the system with AI to simplify the process and make it faster. So in a nutshell, I'll be using WordPress and the WordPress Astra theme as a foundation. Then I'll use the Spectra Visual Website Builder to lay out the content. And finally, I'll be using the new Adaptive Design Library feature from Starter Templates to speed up the process. And basically, the Adaptive Design Library is going to offer you a ton of design choices. It's like having a personal designer, developer, and copywriter working on your website. You can add sections, call patterns, or even full pages. And optionally, you can use AI to create the content for you. And I must insist on this point. I say optionally because you can totally use the design library without AI. And that is important because if you're going to use AI, it's going to cost some credits. There's a credit system because, hey, let's face it, AI costs money, so you have to pay for it. But if you don't want to pay, you can totally use the design library, and I'm going to show you the difference. So for example, here we see the design library without AI. So you get those beautiful sections and you can totally use it free of charge. So as you can see here, you get the hero, page header, about, services, and so on. You get so many different categories. And now is the same design library, but specifically tailored to your brand. So in this case, the fictional brand PerStyleForce, which is a cat grooming business. And as you can see, the images and the text really matches that. So the text is created for the brand, the images are for the brand, and it's the same design library, but now with AI generated content. But the good news is that you get 1,000 free credits monthly that you can use on both the hero and the page header categories, so that you can get a taste of whether or not you like this AI feature. Now, if you do, and if you want to purchase credits, you can always click on this icon and click on Get More Credits. And for a very small price, you can get 200,000 credits. And if you need more, you can get 800,000 credits. Now, just to give you an idea, let's say that you are interested in AI-generated content for the About category. So you want to design, but with AI-generated content. Well, you would have to pay a one-time fee of 500 credits. And the same for other categories. But once again, if you don't need AI, it's completely free. But if you want AI, it's 500 credits per category. Or you could pay a 5,000 credits fee one time, and you get access to all design patterns with AI generated content. So this way you don't have to pay individually, and you also save money. Now, I told you can also generate pages. So if you go to the Pages tab, same thing. If you don't want to use AI, it's free, but let's say you want all pages on this website with AI generated content. Well, once again, you would have to pay a fee of 5,000 credits, but then you get access to all pages with AI generated content. And if you want a quick glimpse of what the page has to offer, just hover over the thumbnail and it will scroll down. And as you hover out, it will scroll back up. Now, I'm going to show you how to set up WordPress as well as the tools I mentioned, but if you just want to see the real life example, you may want to skip to the next segment in this video. But if you're interested, just follow along as I show you how I set things up. So in my case, to go faster, I will use ZipWP to set up the website. You can create a free account, and once you're ready, click on Login. Next, I click on Create New, Blank Website, and let me call it PerStyleForce. Click on Create Site, and there you go, I got my one-click login, so let me log in. So first, let me go to Appearance, Themes, click on Add New Theme, and I'm going to install Astra. Then click on Activate. And now if I go to Astra dashboard, first I'm going to install starter templates. So we land on this page, but we're not going to install the template now. So let me get out of this page. And now back to Astra dashboard. And this time let me install Spectra. And it takes me to the Spectra dashboard. Now let me click on AI features. And here you see a button where you can get your 1,000 free monthly credits, or you can connect to your existing ZipWP account. So let me click on it. I already have an account and I'm already logged in. So I'm just going to click on authorize and continue. And that's it. I'm connected with AI. Now, one thing you have to know is that the fact that you authenticate doesn't mean you're going to pay for credits. Whether you use the free credits or the paid credits, you need to authenticate. And like I said, the account is free, so no worries there. And the reason is simply because this way it prevents our servers to be overloaded with requests. Now, in my case, I know I want to use AI for the Per Salesforce website, so let me show you the quick process. So in WordPress, I'm going to go to Pages. And here I'm going to open any page. So I'm just going to hover over it and click on Edit, and then click on Template Kits. And next I'm going to click on Generate Content with AI. And here all you need to do is select the right options and fill in the information. So I'm building a website for a business. Click on Continue, then enter the name, then click Continue. And here I'm going to describe the business, and then I can click on Improve using AI. And there you go, we already have a better description. Next, click on Continue and fill in your information. Add social media if you have any, and click on Continue. So here the AI determined that it was about cat grooming and gave us those images. Now you can select and deselect images, or you can select different tags, but we're gonna leave it as it is. Next, click on Continue. And next, click on Generate Content, but it's going to cost 5,000 credits. And as mentioned before, then you can use all the different patterns, all AI generated. So let's click on Generate Content. And the AI is going to generate content for each category of the design library. And there you go. We now have AI generated content for every category of the adaptive design library. So for example, if I go to services, as you can see, the images and even the text, it's a bit small, but even the text, I will show you in a moment. For example, let me insert this one here, and now let's scroll down. And as you can see, the images, but also the text is all about your brand. So next we look at homepage design examples and how we can recreate what they do best. Next, the hero section. So for this example, we're going to take a look at the Spotify website. Now, I suppose you know what Spotify is, so I'm not going to present it. Basically, the hero section is the section that comes right after the navigation, and it's crucial because you only have a few seconds to convince someone to stay on your website. So what's a good hero section? Well, we have the perfect example here. First of all, we see the image here. So you need a subject. You need an image that's interesting enough that people will want to read the title that's next to it. And here it works well. It's a smartphone, and even if you didn't know what it's about, you can see, oh, that must be something creative. You look at the thumbnails, and basically this comes as a support to the main headline. And the main headline says, play millions of songs and podcasts for free. So that is the value proposition that you want to have in your hero section. And here it's simple, play millions of songs and it's going to be free. Now, under that headline, we could have a sub-headline with a smaller font size that would come as a support to the main headline, because the main headline is what most people are going to read. People don't really like to read on the page. They scan and then they see a big bold title, there's not too many words, they're gonna read it. And the sub-headline will come as a support. But here, the value proposition is clear, so they feel like they don't need a sub-headline. And next, we have the call to action button, get Spotify free. And it's good because it's visible. You know, it doesn't blend in too much, it's visible. And it's simple, get Spotify free. Now, it's very rare that someone would not know a brand, would land on this page, see a call to action, and right away would perform an action. That doesn't really happen. Usually it takes 6 to 8 interactions before someone will decide, hey, I want to perform that action or not. So they will go through the website, and maybe another day they will see an ad and they will come back on the website and so on. Or that can happen on the same day. But once they've decided, okay, I want to get it, then you make it easy for them. They can come back to that page and they know either they remember it or they will see it right away. They can click on that button and they can perform the action that you wanted them to perform the whole time. Now, another thing that's super important in the hero section is a non-distracting background. And here it's beautifully done. It looks creative, you know, with the different figures here in the back, and it supports the creative mood of Spotify. But it's non-distracting. You can read the value proposition, you can see the image and the call to action. It's all neat. Now, the next thing that they did right here is to kind of hint there is content underneath the hero section. Because here you see the Why Spotify and you see some icons. Now, a full screen hero section is a beautiful thing. Some of the most beautiful websites have those full screen hero sections, and personally, I love it. But if you're gonna go that route, you need to be sure that you can hint that there is something under that hero section. But the other route is what Spotify did. It's to make sure that people will know there is something under the hero section, and you just do this by reducing the height of that hero section. And here is beautifully done. So how can we recreate this section? So in WordPress, you want to go to Pages, All Pages, and here we have a few pages. I'm going to select all pages. These are dummy content pages. So I'm just going to move it to trash, click on apply, then click on add a new page, click on add title, and let's call it home. And next I'm going to click on the little eye icon to hide the title on the page. And if you followed along at the beginning of this video, I showed you how to connect the design library to AI. So I'm going to click on template kits, then go to hero, and I'm going to select this one here. Click on insert. So all it took was like a couple of clicks and you have your hero section almost ready. And I say almost because AI is not going to do everything. It can get you there at like 90% of the job done, but then you need to change the content. And there it is. So we went from this to this. And all we needed to do is change the image in the background, change the overlay and the text, that's it. But the structure was done, just took a couple of clicks and copying and pasting. So after the final touches, if we want to look more in details, we can see that we got all elements. So here we can see a beautiful image of a cat, and this comes as a support to the brand, to the overall message, and to the brand services. Next, we can see that this background is non-distracting because the subject is on the right-hand side, but here we can read the text easily. And the text is our value proposition, making your cat look stylish, and underneath we have a sub-headline that comes as a support to the main headline. Next, we have a couple of buttons. Why a couple? Well, first of all, we have the free consultation. So of course you understand what it means, but the idea is that if people want to book a free consultation, they can come and they know all they have to do is clicking here, and the same here in the navigation. And here I added a learn more button just in case they just want to scroll and discover the content, and this will take us to the next section. So once you created and publish your homepage, there's a couple of things you want to change. So first of all, you want to go to settings, reading, and then where it says your homepage displays, you want to select a static page, and where it says homepage, in the drop-down, select the page you want as your homepage. Then click on Save Changes, and next you want to go to Appearance, Menus, and then you want to give your new menu a name, then click on Create Menu, and here on the left you will see the pages you have. So for example, here I'm going to add Home, click on Add to Menu, and then specifically for this tutorial, I'm going to add a few fictional links. So I just do this, put the name of the link, and click Add to Menu. And in the future videos in the playlist, it will be replaced by the real pages that we'll be creating. And once you're done, click on Save Menu. Next, the hook. So for this example, we're going to take a look at the Ahrefs website. And in case you don't know, it's all about SEO or search engine optimization. Now, usually the hooks comes right after the hero section, and there are various copywriting techniques and patterns, but the principle is always the same. In the hook section, you need to put content that's going to hook the viewer so that they don't leave the page, and you get more chances to convince them to perform the action you want them to perform. So in the case of Ahrefs, it's more about features, but really it's more about a video. There's a demo video, so they try to hook the viewer with the features, and then they have this call to action so that they can watch a video. And as we'll see later, video is the best medium when it comes to conversion because one video can improve your conversion rate by 86%. Now, we'll already be using a video in another section of this page, so we're not going to use it here. So now let's recreate our own hook section for the Perstyle Force homepage. So we're back on our homepage, we got our hero section. Let's click on template kits. And for this one, we're gonna go to the about category. Now a little note here. Even though there are dedicated categories in the design library, you can be creative and use a design from a different category if it suits what you're trying to build. So here we are in the about category, and as you can see here at the bottom, you can choose a white layout or some other colors from our global color palette. So I could use this cream color or this orange color. Now in this case, I'm going to use white and I'm going to pick this design. So I'm just going to click on insert, and there you go. The hook section is beautiful, and in this case I'm going to change the text because I want to use a different pattern. It's going to be problem solution kind of pattern, and I'm going to change the images to match my brand, but the layout works well. And here it is, the problem with cat grooming. So I explain the problem and then the solution. And here I've put a button to let people click on it and go to the next section. Now you don't have to do this, but sometimes it can improve conversions. And now if we take a look at our homepage, it's starting to take shape. We got our hero section. I did actually the same thing here at the top. So if I click on learn more, now it's going to bring us to our hook section. And if I scroll back up, if you remember what we said in the previous segment, the hero section should kind of hint there is something underneath, which is the case here. And here is our beautiful hook section. Next, USPs or unique selling proposition. So for that, we'll go to the hire website, and by the way, nice hero section. So let me scroll, and here we find a unique selling proposition section. So basically the idea is that, let's say you have two airlines, what would be the difference and why would you choose that airline? Basically, why would you choose that business? What makes that business unique? So in case of the hire airline, the unique selling proposition is flexible solutions. You can either have a private jet or you can have a kind of exclusive shared private jet. Then it's fully customizable, they have smart quotes and personalization. This is their unique selling proposition. Now it looks pretty bare bones, but the idea is that you want it to be simple enough so that people remember why would they do business with you instead of your competition. Now, how do we recreate this? And actually, this is the kind of section where I would use videos, and actually that's what I did. So let's take a look. So back in WordPress, I'm going to click on template kits and then go to the white chooses section. And this time, instead of white, I'm going to use this color, or orange color. And I'm going to pick this design. So let me click on insert, and there you go. Now all we need to do is change our content, and like I said, instead of an image, I'll be using a video. And there you go. I just changed the text and replaced the photo by a video. And actually I cheated, it's not a real video, it's just an image with a play button. But if I wanted to add a real video, I would just use a video block. But this video is long enough. So let me click on update. And now if you go back to the front end, let me refresh. And there you go. And as you can see, we have our video, our pseudo video here on the left hand side. And then we have our unique selling proposition. We want people to scan, and here it is, perfection technique, top tier grooming products, and gentle techniques. And right underneath, I added a call to action, just in case people are already convinced and they really want this free consultation. Next, services, features, or both. So for this section, once again, we'll be using the Hire Airline website because they just nailed it. So here they have the title, then they have a all solutions call to action. But what's really important here is the way they portray the services. Very simple, 2 blocks, here on demand and here shared flights. There's a call to action for each, so you can reach each service and read more. So let's recreate our own services section for the Perstyle Force website. So back in WordPress, click on template kits, then services, and this time we're going to choose the cream color scheme, and let's pick this design. So I click on insert, and there you go. Here is our services section. So let me close this, and now let me replace it with my content, and voila, beautiful. So let me click on update, and now if we go back to the front end and refresh, there you go, looking beautiful. So here I have our title, perfect services, and right below a sub headline, and then just below that I have our 3 services with 3 beautiful images. So each service has a title, a small description, really short, and a call to action. So as mentioned, the idea here is that you want it to be simple to scan for the visitor of that page. You want them to not be overwhelmed and easily click to find out more information if they want to. Next, social proof. And for this section, we'll be using the homepage of the Despace company website as an example. So let's scroll down, and it starts here with the number of cities and countries where the company is operating. That's for credibility. Here we got some logos, then we got some figures, some statistics, followed by testimonials. Now, it could have been even better with some star rating, but it's already very, very good. Because the idea of this section is to let people know, hey, we are a credible company and your money or your trust is safe with us. So basically that's the idea. So however you're going to build this section, you want to use the same psychology. Be credible and let people know, hey, it's safe to do business with that company. So now, how can we create our own social proof section for the PerStyleForce website? So still on our homepage, I'm going to click on Template Kits. And first of all, I'm going to scroll down here and click on Statistics. I'm going to use this one here, the first one. So I click on Insert, and there you go. You got the clean and beautiful statistics section. Let the numbers speak. But we're not done. So once again, let me click on Template Kits. And this time I'm going to click on Testimonials. So let me scroll down, and I'm going to use this one here. So click on Insert. Great, and now we have testimonials just below. So of course, these testimonials are created by AI, and I don't recommend doing that. You want real testimonials. But the good thing here is that you get a star rating, and when you click on the star rating, it's actually a block, and you can have an accurate representation of the star. So if it's 4 stars, you can easily tweak it. Now, be honest, in this section, the idea is not to lie, the idea is to show your potential customers, hey, these are some customers that did business with us, and this is what they're saying about us. So it's better if you have a photo, if you have a name, or at least a first name and the first initial of the surname. But if you have the full name, it's better. And basically the way I would go about it is ask your clients, hey, can I use these testimonials? Maybe they already left a testimonial on another platform, or you could just ask them, hey, when you see a customer that's super happy, would you like to share a testimonial on our website? We would really appreciate it. And then ask them for permission to like rearrange the word, not change the word, but make it shorter, maybe use a synonym or whatever, and then you show them before you publish. Same thing for the picture, ask for permission, always ask for permission. But then once you get this, it's super powerful because someone's gonna go through the website and see, oh, they've been serving that many customers and this is what it's saying about them. The pictures look genuine, they don't look like it's a stock photo or something. Those people are genuine, I can look up their name and actually find them. And you know, once people are really convinced that you are a legit business, then there is only a thin line to their credit card, if you see what I mean. And here it is matching the PerStyle brand. I changed the content, changed the colors, and even added an image, the logo here. So let's click on update. And now if I go back to the front end and refresh, so let me scroll down and there it is. So here we got our numbers, and the idea, like I mentioned, is to give credibility. People say, hey, they've been in business long enough. Then I strengthened the brand with the logo, and then here we got the testimonials with the star rating. As mentioned, these have to be genuine. But now you got a convincing conversion machine. Next, FAQs. So for this section, we're going to use the example of the Adobe Creative Cloud homepage. Now, it's not the Adobe company homepage, but specifically the Creative Cloud Service homepage. So let's scroll down. Here we see the various software. We have a banner, then what is bundled in the plan. And here we have the frequently asked questions. So the idea with this section is to lower any objection one may have. So maybe the potential customer already set their mind, like they say, okay, they believe in the company, they know it's legit, they want the product, but they're like, is it going to be compatible with my computer, for example? What is in the bundle? What do I get for this price? They're trying to justify why would they spend that amount of money, for example? Or maybe they really have an objection. So this section's sole goal is to lower those objections. So how can we recreate this with WordPress? So back in WordPress, still editing our homepage, let me click on Template Kits, and then let me click on FAQ. and I'm going to scroll down. I want to use this design, but I want the colored version. So let me click here, and then I'm going to click on insert. There you go. So here we got our title with subheading, and then we got our FAQs. Now the idea is to have a maximum of 7 elements, 7 questions, ideally even less. But sometimes you may need to go over the 7. And why 7? Just because apparently the memory has a hard time when it's more than 7 elements, short-term memory. So that's the reason why. But sometimes you may need to go overboard. Just don't put too many. If you got 50 frequently asked questions, then it kind of defeats the purpose because nobody's going to read it. So just use the frequently asked questions. And here it is with custom content. So of course, in a real life scenario, you would change the AI generated content for the FAQs because you want the real FAQs from your company. And then here on the right hand side, I changed the image to match the PerStyleForce brand. Next, call to action banner. So for this section, we're going to take a look at the Brussels Airlines website. So let's scroll down, and here we can see we got our banner. Now the image is on the right, and then we got the text and the call to action button on the left hand side, but the format doesn't really matter. It could be wide, it could be full screen, could have an overlay. What matters is that the text is readable, the call to action is visible, and there is an action you want people to perform that's clearly laid out, clearly explained on the call to action button. Now, this section is super important. You might think, oh, it's at the bottom of the page, nobody's going to see it. But the truth is, for some reason, people who really want to do business with you, they will go to the end. People who are not interested, they will leave in a few seconds. But once they reach the end, usually they've been through this psychological funnel of lowering the barrier, the objections, and they're like, yeah, I really want it. And you serve them the call to action button on a golden platter. So how can we recreate this with WordPress? So back to editing our homepage, I'm going to click on template kits, then call to action, and I'm going to use this one here. So let me click on insert, and here it is. So as you can see, it's different from the example because this one has an overlay. So the text is on top of the color overlay, the image is in the background, and here we got the call to action. But as mentioned, what's important is that it's readable and there's a clear call to action. So let's change the content. And here it is with custom content. So first of all, you can see I've increased the vertical height. I've also removed the subheading and only left the title because you want a clear message. Let's give your cat the perfect look. Next, we got the call to action that's very visible with a clear call to action, which is book your free consultation. All right, so let's click on update. And now if we go back to the front end and refresh, now let me scroll down, and here it is, looking beautiful. So let's take a look at what we've built. So first of all, we have a beautiful hero section. From the get-go, any visitor that comes is going to understand what the company is about, and also the branding is tight, so it gives credibility, it's legit. That's the first perception you want people to think. Next, we move on to the hook. Here, we lay down the problem and the solution, not too many words, 2 paragraphs, and it goes really fast, even if people only want to read the title. Problem with cat grooming, they're going to be curious about, hey, what is really the problem? And, hopefully they will read the rest. But then even if they scroll to the next section, they're going to play the video about the unique selling proposition. What is the company all about? They will see that the company has a specific trademark technique, that they use top-tier grooming products, and they use gentle techniques. If you're a cat owner and maybe you had a bad experience with a cat grooming service before, this is super important. Next, we have our services page. We can see the main services with clear call to action. And then we got the social proof section. We can see that the company has styled a lot of cats, more than 7,000, more than 4,000 happy clients. So I guess clients have more than 1 cat. And then we see the testimonials. Next, we see the FAQs with that great images that really reinforces the branding. Because one important thing about a brand is how does it stand out from the competition? Now, we already talked about unique selling proposition, but it's also in the details like the type of images, the tone of voice, is that brand funny or serious? These kind of things. So with this image, it really sets the tone. So here we got our FAQ questions, and at the bottom, we got our final call to action banner. And at this stage, if the visitor really needs high-end customizable cat grooming services, and if they like the brand, the tone of voice, then you may well get a new client. Next, bonus conversion tips. So the first thing you want to do is to make your calls to action identifiable as calls to action, because sometimes you go on some websites and you see some text, you don't know, is it a button, is it clickable or not? So make crystal clear that this is clickable. And also make your calls to action visible. They really need to stand out from the background. So we've talked about it previously, but using video can increase your conversion rate by 86%, which is crazy. So for example, you could have followed a text tutorial, but you decided to use video as the medium to learn how to create the perfect homepage. Next, make it easy for your website visitors. And that goes through design and decluttering. So for the design part, you want to have a consistent set of colors, fonts. You want to make it simple and make it look good. Also for the images, for example, you see here, all the images on this page are consistent, they look good, they really match the brand, the PerStyleForce brand. So you want to make sure you have beautiful images. The best one is custom photos by a photographer, or you can use AI. Actually here, for this image, I've used AI. But the idea is that it reinforces the brand and really goes along with the rest of the design. Actually, it reinforces the design and the perception. So once you've done that, you also want to start decluttering the interface. You want to leave enough white space between the edges. And also, for example, here we got the FAQ section. I could have put 50 questions, but it wouldn't work. So here we got just a few questions, just 4. Maybe we could add a few more or rotate the question and test. And that takes me to my next tip. Track, track, and track. So basically, let's take this section. We could do A/B testing with the image on the left, the image on the right. We could try adding 2 more questions or just 1 more question and so on. 1 test at a time. Then measure the results, and little by little, you're gonna go section through section and you're gonna make your website better, the whole website, but starting with the homepage. And you will see your conversion rate increase and decrease, and then you can make decisions. So there you have it. You're now equipped with the knowledge to create the perfect homepage. So out of curiosity, for which type of website are you going to use this tutorial for? Please let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in getting credits for the AI part of the design library, you'll find a link in the description of this video.